Okay.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, give me just one moment because I need to get a link.
There it is.
Let's see. Share the link.
There goes Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Give me 1 second. All my gaming stuff wants to pop up at this time too. Okay, I think I got it. One second, I'm sorry. Okay, I got everything.
All right.
Can everyone hear me okay? Move this away from the scissors. That would be helpful. Okay. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Nova, and we are going to be doing part 4 of part 4, pack 5 and 6 of the Oro Rosa travel bag. So I have my 2 packs ready. Today we're doing the shoe and side panel, so I will put in a turn lock so you can see my little tips and tricks and my floundering. I'm gonna mess up some. It usually happens. And we're going to be doing the shoe flap and putting together that. It seems I love how these are broken down into 2 different packs, because once you finish the first side and you're getting together the second side, it comes together really smoothly. It looks, when I first was testing it, I was like, oh my god, and we can do this together, definitely.
One quick thing before you get started, could you just move that camera? Look, just turn it just a little bit that way. Right, that's perfect.
Okay. And page 37, and we're getting pack 5. And pack 5 has your exterior side, your interior, your mesh pocket, your trim, and some elastic. So I'm going to put the hardware back in here because I will mess it up. So definitely have your beverage of choice, I'm using having ginger ale in my mason jar. And let's get started. With a mesh pocket, when you cut it out, I do believe when we went over the cutting out, I explained that the mesh pocket has its own bias, and make sure you are cutting it out to the area that's stretchy versus, I believe it horizontal, it's not stretchy at all. So just make sure you cut it out in the right direction. Put this aside, and we're going to work on our mesh trim. I'm using waterproof canvas, so I cannot iron this. If you're using cotton woven, you need to roughly put the edges at 3/8 of an inch up. And I'm just using tape that I purchased from Wawac or Wawac. Hi Anita. Hi Diana. Hi Cindy. I'm trying to like take off tape that I already took off. And if your machine is fussy with tape, definitely use give a try Dritz wash away tape, or wipe down your needle after you're done sewing each part. Like you sewed it down and you went through it, use an alcohol wipe. I do that a lot. I have alcohol wipes on like every station. All right, so we have that folded down. We're going to retrieve our mesh pocket. And we are now going to, I shouldn't have folded, but you're gonna unfold one piece and you're gonna put right sides together. I'm going to instead put this down exactly at the, I'll do it this way, it's easier for you to see. You can clip or pin and place this down, and I'm going to do not a basting stitch because I want it to stay together. I'm losing my words today. I'm just going to stitch it at a 3.5 stitch length down. I actually, in my first tester bag, I used woven, and I preferred it 100% over the waterproof canvas because the waterproof canvas kind of has no give. Back stitch. If you have a little overage, it's normal, especially when you're cutting in the right direction of the mesh. It stretches. Hi Lauren, welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. So I'm gonna grab some clips. And I'm going to trim my threads. And we're going to place the top over the mesh. And I'm going to grab some clips and just make sure my trim is even. So I'm just clipping the top. Oh, before I do that, I can't find my bodkin, and what you normally would do is you're going to top stitch this on the bottom, and then you would take your bodkin and feed it through. I had to try to find my bodkin today, and for some odd reason, for another project. I can't find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one part of the elastic and I'm going to bar tack a few stitches to keep it in place. And you don't want to put this over the area that you're going to be top stitching if you're doing it my way. I'm going to take this part and just clip it. I have to improvise because I do not have, I can't find it. I might have to order a new one. I was looking all over it for it, like for 2 hours sake, because I had another project that required it, and for some reason I always have it on top of my machine, like connected to a magnet, because I use it a lot more, a lot. A lot. All right, so I'm going to tack this down on this side too, just to make sure that it doesn't shift. When in doubt, you just gotta improvise. There's always a way, always. All right, so now I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the folded edges on the very bottom, and I'm gonna put a couple back stitches, and I'm gonna remove the clips as I go. And I'm not sewing over my elastic. It's tricky. You just kind of have to shift it as you go and trust your stitching. Okay, and I'm going to cut this excess, and what I'm going to do is just fold this too. I feel like I shouldn't have used waterproof canvas. This is like not springing back how I wanted it. I'm just matching it, the raw edge to the edge. I really wish I had my bodkin and put different elastic. What can I do? I don't even have a big safety pin. That's what that was plan B today. Because if you look on page 38, this scrunches up. I'm trying to see what I can do for a second. I think I'm gonna see if I could pull this to give it. It's a softer elastic because the other elastic I was using, somehow, some way, it just kept like fraying. So I'm pulling the elastic so that way I can get it to curl a little bit. I'm going to bar tack it down. This, I should have used a different elastic too, but I used what I had on hand. But I'm a person that will improvise. cutting some of those stitches from that basting for basting it on both ends. I'm just going to bear with me for just a second. Cutting the stitches. And getting my hemostat, I have those always around too. And just pulling just there we go. Okay. Removing my hemostats. Yeah, I have hemostats everywhere too. That's like one of my favorite tools. Because sometimes your fingers just can't hold on long enough, so you work it out. Okay, so then we're going to, we feed our elastic, we're going to grab our interior pocket, side. And we are going to clip in place. So we're going to lining, position the top 1/3 of an inch on each end. And just grab my chalk pencil and measure 1/3 inch down. Put a line. Put a line. And then I'm going to clip it on one side and clip it on the other. And I'm just going to clip the sides real quick. And we're going to do some pleating so that this can hold 2 different bottles, which is really, really cool. All right, so on the pocket, we're going to, I should have found my center. I should have told you to find your center first. That's super important. And draw a line. We're going to be making some pleats. If you look at figure 126, on the sides there are pleats at about 3/4 of an inch to get it to fit from that 1/3 of an inch mark to the bottom. So there's like, it's not baggy, and just pop a clip in there, and it'll just give the bag a really nice finish. The great thing about the mesh is that you can't mess up. If your pleats go in a little different direction, as long as everything lines up on the side and the bottom, you're going to be fine. But just take your time. I kind of just make it as like a little, pull it all up till it's even, and then just flatten it out to make my pleats. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with our center. Now, what I did last time is I go down and I make like a pocket, like I back stitch. I find my center, I clip it in the center, and then I make my pleats after I find the exact centers. It helps tremendously to do it before you put the elastic on. Don't do what I did and not. Okay, and I'm just picking it up and I'm kind of flattening it out a little bit. You can have it go to one side or another side, but it just, I don't know, it feels, mesh is easy to pleat. You just have to take your time. All right, so we're going to sew down across and back up, and then we're going to actually be putting some rivets in it. The reason why I chose a skinnier elastic is the first time I didn't use the right elastic. It was like, I think I used one that was like 3/4 of an inch or 7/8 of an inch, and as soon as I put the rivet on it, it unraveled. So the second time I used a smaller one, but it was a bad elastic. It frayed the minute you unrolled it, and I should have known. And this time I was like, I'm going to use the elastic that you have for the mask, because it stretches like a t-shirt really, really, really great. But I did not pay attention to the stretch recovery. There's a whole process with that. So I use a thinner one so that way I can rivet and it will not get in it. It won't get in the way. I always backstitch. I backstitch one time over each pleat too, just for security. There were some people in the test group that sew down a center line for each water bottles, but the way Alexis has us doing the rivets, it becomes two separate ones without actually having to do an extra stitch in the middle. So my biggest tip is to, before you put the elastic in, measure your centers and put a little mark or a clip on your elastic where that center is, and then you can make your pleats on the side and then the bottom. Backstitch very well over each pleat. Okay, so that's all done. We're going to trim up our threads. And we need to make sure that everything measures 1 3/4 of an inch down. And it does. Yep. Okay. So now we're going to rivet the center. What you're going to need is your hole puncher. You're going to need a rivet. This is why I personally think a thinner elastic works better, because then you're not like, okay, I'm freaking out, I'm riveting into my my fabric. And if you have like some Decoville or anything that can help with the stability in the back, do it. I'm using twill tape because I was sewing with it today and I had a scrap. And twill tape is really, really structured. If you think about, if you ever put on a corset or something, they use that as waist tape to keep the corset in place so it doesn't stays in shape. It's just a really strong material. So I'm going to make a hole, and I'm filling out with my fingers where the elastic is so I do not go through it. I'm going to take the metal part of my rivet and put it through, and on the back I'm going to put my twill tape washers. I covered through two layers. Okay, so now we're going to rivet this in place. I need to bring that closer to me. And voila, we have our double-sided pocket with the washer in the back. But definitely if you have Peltex or like Decoville Light or whatever scraps, I usually have a little bowl or box like this just filled with them because they make the greatest washers. Okay, so we're going to now grab our zipper panel that we made last week, our exterior, and some turn locks. Now the last two bags I realized that I did thumb locks and not do a turn lock. There are some really cool turn locks out there. This one I found, somebody told me someone told me about it and I totally freaked out. This is a metal, can you go right through down here, Kendall, so they can see? Okay, so this is a turn lock and it has your back facing and your front facing, but it's with prongs. And the reason why I like this turn lock so much is because you only need to cut out that small oval turn and you press it down and you're done. You could put some glue on the little sides and you're done. I've used this turn lock before. It's relatively really light. It doesn't make any extra weight to the bag, and it's really easy to install. And I got it off of Amazon. I was looking for turn locks and I came upon this, and then somebody else mentioned it. I was like, holy moly, this is pretty cool. There's all these different ones that you could try. I was contemplating this one. This is super heavy, and this is a force fit one. So you would cut out the oblong shape, put these together, and you would take a mallet and hit it together. And I'm in the basement, and I think, like, you know, pounding a lot after 5 is odd, but I thought this was a great one to show you. The force fit ones are pretty awesome because, again, you don't have to deal with screws. I have to avoid screws. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time I use them, like a screw comes up missing, and then I'll find like a pile of them when I sweep, and then I'm like, what happened? Then there is your more traditional one, which I definitely love this one. This one is super pretty. You have another rectangle, and then you have the male and then the female, and then again where we would just trace this out and cut it out and cut out the two places where we would do the magnets. And this is really nice. So they're all different sizes. I believe in the front page when it's saying supplies, there's not an exact size turn lock. They all do the same purpose. I've used like little miniature ones or gigantic ones. It just depends on what you are comfortable with. So I did thumb locks because I think one of Alexis's first bags showed it, and I was like, oh, I love that. I love that convenience of just having that click. But I like the added turn lock because if your bag gets jostled, it just stays really functional. We had someone use snaps, like 24 line snaps. We had, I'm not gonna lie, I think I've seen someone use a cam snap, but don't quote me on it, but I think I've seen it. We had people use magnets. If you want to, I can even see Velcro being a thing, but there's a lot of different ways. There's the turn hook ones that they use in a lot of like steampunk corsets I've seen. There's a lot of different methods you can use. You don't have to just use a turn lock, but I wanted to show you a few different ones because there are some cool ones out there. I am not going to use the force thick grommet one, even though when I seen I have that today, I was like, oh man, I want to use that. I am going to use the thumb, the one that you press down, just to show you how I would install this and what gluing method. So you can just order different ones. I order my my turn locks at Emmeline Bags, Serial Bag Maker, 2 Minutes to Stitch on Etsy. Where else? Bringberry. Oh, I always forget My Handmade Space. Whenever I buy zipper tape from her, she has like a whole bag hardware thing, and I'll buy a few from her too because she has really pretty iridescent ones. And then if you're in the group chat on Facebook, we had someone have like this beautiful butterfly one that she got off of Amazon. The one I'm going to be installing is one I got off of Amazon too, and it came like in a, I don't know, I want to say like a 5-pack, and they're relatively inexpensive. You can tell the weight difference when I hold like one from Bringberry or Emmeline Bag. These are really light. Now, with that being said, just because it's light doesn't mean it's not good. It all depends on the person. I like really lightweight bags on me sometimes because I have 3 kids and 2 dogs and a husband, and my bag becomes like a commune for everyone. Like, you put this in your bag. So the lighter the hardware and everything in my bag, it's easier on my shoulders at the end of the day. But sometimes I want something that's a little bit more heavy, something a little bit more supple, and it's okay. But there is a significant weight difference. Maybe what I'll do tomorrow is I'll put it on like a food scale so you guys can see the difference in the weight scale thing. But there is a definite, like if I gave this to my husband right now, he'd be like, yeah, this is really light compared to the other one. And it doesn't mean it's bad. We're going to put some glue and everything and it should be fine. Fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the side and we're going to follow the directions, because with this there are measurements, but also when you're using a turn lock or a different method that's not shown in the thing, you want to make sure your measurements are on point. We are going to take our exterior piece and we're going to unzip a little bit. We're going to just kind of, I'm gonna kind of just clip this over here because I want to see where I want this to lay. So I'm going to take this, put right sides together, and we're doing on page 40 and we're doing figure 134. With the thumb lock, it was like nice because I could just put it at the edge of the flap and just figure out where the turn lock is. So I mean the thumb lock's gonna go, but with this one's a little bit different. So we're not gonna put the lining on first because we're just trying to make sure we can I'm just gonna bring my strings over to the other side. All right. I like the force fit grommets. I've had some success with those. It does. You do need to really bang though, and watch for your fingers. Ask me how I know. Okay. All right. So this is how our flap will look. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to install. I'm going to have this a little higher up so that the mail will come up here, so it doesn't mess with my 2 rows of stitching that I did the last time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my center and I'm going to mark it with a pen. That actually works. I'm going to get a pen that works. Yep. So I have my center, and then I take the washer, and I'm going to, the back side of this, I'm going to draw this oval. And I'm just making sure it's as even as possible. All right. The key with this is you don't want to cut so much that now the hole's too big. I'd rather you take your time and cut slowly in little pieces, and you can cut more and more later. I'm taking like an X-Acto knife. The only reason why I have this one because it says Nova. I do that sometimes. And I'm taking my hands. Do not cut your fingers. Have a sharp blade. I'm just cutting 2 lines to get this started. But I trust myself with more of like scissors, so a pair of sharp snips, and I'm just going to cut around this oval. And I could guarantee you when I go look, it won't be perfect. I might have to cut out some more, but cutting out more and not having it too small versus too big is always welcome. So yes, you're going to have to cut into your beautiful back pattern that you already did. I'm going to check and see. Sure enough, I'm going to have to cut out some more. So I'm just tracing it. A pair of sharp snip scissors helps tremendously. I find like embroidery scissors are pretty good for bag hardware installation because they're really, really sharp. And I'm just cutting. Now there are punches you can use. There's knives you can use for mold, and you can find them like on Amazon. I use those occasionally, but sometimes I don't have the best luck with them. And then I get mad at myself. All right. So if this was to go on now, I only have, if you can see, there's just a little bit of fabric on both sides. So I'm going to cut very, very little on the two sides. There's a lot of ways to put it in locks. I'm doing it the slow way. I still get nervous every time I put one in. I guess that's a good thing, so that means I'm paying attention. All right, I'm going to put this in again, and I don't see any of the material except very, very little here. Little snips. You don't have to take your time. It's not a race. All right, so what then I'll do now is I will grab some glue. And I'm using Magnatac. You can use fabric, tack, whatever glue works for you. And I'm just putting it around the area, especially if you're using cloth. You want to make sure, something that frays, you want to make sure that you have like fray check or something along those lines, so that way it doesn't go everywhere. And I'm going to flip this onto showing the exterior. There you go. So we're going to take the female side and put it over the male. And let's see. I'm going to do a dab of glue, not a lot, because I already went ham on glue. On each one of the little areas that you're going to put the prong down in, and take a flat screwdriver or backhands of the scissors, and I press it down. Kendall, do you mind getting me a napkin? Because I have like a lot of glue everywhere. I was looking for like a rogue piece of cotton somewhere, but apparently I swept today. So kudos to me. I have like glue. I'm like, okay, so I don't know about you, but the fabric tack and the magnet tack, like you put a little bit out and it starts coming out like lava. Okay. All right. Getting the glue. Thank you.
Okay.
And wiping excess glue off. Wiping it off. Okay. Okay, so we have one. We have it down. Yay! Okay, so now what I will do is I will lay it flat, make a mark here, like where the male part's going to be. So I have that little mark. I would, where my two prongs are, find its center. My pen is like, I want to work and I don't want to work. And I will make a small slice. And I would try to use a small bead of glue. It just like comes, I know, I'm telling you, this particular glue.
Get that on the back side of your, yeah.
I got it. It's okay. It's okay. No. Okay. I'm like a kid with glue. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's glue down everything. Okay, so then I'm going to use the washer that came with it. I cannot tell you how many times with these washers I'll try to line it up so it's the perfect amount, like perfect on each side, and it never works out for me. Like they have like, it's a weird number, just weird. And then I'm going to use some electrical tape for the back. Duct tape never seems to...
I was about to give you the matching.
No, the duct tape never stays for me, and I don't know why. I think it's a me thing.
She has matching Jaguar print.
If I put it
duct
on,
tape.
if I put it on, everybody will see it pop off.
That would not be cool.
All right. And it will fall off. I'm going to wipe off any residue. But yeah, it's on. Yay! Magic fingers. So if you were doing this with screws, you put the screws in. I would recommend a magnetic bowl to put your screws in, or putting like a pair of like scissors or whatever and put the screws in there so that they don't disappear, because they do disappear. And we're going to now grab our lining piece. We're going to match lining to lining, right sides are right sides for lining and exterior. And we're going to do 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and end. Okay. Remove that. And we're going to now top stitch this down. And before I top stitch, I'm going to just pull my lining to make sure it matches up with the exterior bottom. And what I like to do is I just like to add a couple clips on the bottom so that my lining doesn't raise up. One eighth of an inch over on the top. Moving my ginger ale so that I don't knock it over.
Oh, that would not be good.
No, I have broke way too many mason jars in here. You don't know, I'm accident prone. I'm accident prone. So we have that. That's pretty cool. All right, so it is now time to work on pack 6. I'm going to put this on the side for right now. We're going to be using it later. So pack 6. I told you I'm into project bags. Okay, put my project pack down. We're going to need our 2 zippers. And before we start, just if you're like me and you don't want anything fraying, just slightly singe the ends of your zipper tape. All right. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need our front flap exterior and the 3 lining pieces. We're going to need our front of the pocket and our exterior, our 2 pieces of Decoville Heavy for the pocket, our anchor. This is our shoe bottom bag of the lining, and of course our lining. So and you need 4 zipper pulls. So I'm going to put the zipper pulls and the lining and the anchor, everything except our pieces, our front shoe panel pieces and some zipper tape. Okay. So we're gonna get our front. We're just gonna separate these. We're gonna have two pieces that are for the lining. One's for exterior and one is for the interior. So we're going to grab one of our zippers and we are going to put it in half. I know this is always the scary part, but it's gonna be good, I promise. Oh, that's why it was acting weird. my thread is caught in
your bag.
In my project bag. All right, so we're gonna take one of the 16-inch number 5 zippers and we're going to clip on one side. And we're going to clip. Take your time. Use as many or as few clips as you need. I always seem to use a lot because I want to make sure that each curve is fully covered and everything's, you know, raw edge to raw edge. All right. So once we have that clipped, I'm going to grab my stiletto. Let's see. And we are going to carefully baste at 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Do not backstitch, just baste. And I'm just going to use my stiletto in lieu of my finger. And just stop in as much as you need. Make sure your needle's down when you stop. And just breathe. You totally got this. All right, we got one down. And we're going to now take our lining, trim those extra threads. We're going to take one of our linings and we're going to place it on top. And we're going to clip. If you're using all cotton or canvas, you can pin. we are good to go. Now we're going to, after we clip, we're going to sew at 1/4 of an inch. Take your time. If you feel like your zipper teeth come up, just stop and position it. You don't want to accidentally sew over them. And my zipper teeth are not acting right now. I usually iron my zipper tape before I use it, and I didn't do it this time. I was like, oh, I don't need to. I'm just gonna remove a clip, and there we go. Okay. Okay, then we sew all 4 layers together using 1/4 of a seam allowance. Okay, next we're going to remove the basting stitch with a seam ripper. So the 1/8 of an inch we're going to remove. I know you're like, what? Why are we doing that? There's a rhyme and a reason, I promise you. Just become one with your seam ripper. Oops, never mind, Shinova, come on. I like removed the 1/4 of an inch stitch. Yeah, I just did that. Don't tell anybody. All right, let me start removing the 1/8 of an inch now, and not the 1/4 of an inch. I got excited way too fast. Let's see. See. It is a process, I know, but I'm telling you, when it all comes together, you'll see it's super worth it. Also with this side. And then we're going to be doing some trimming, but not our zipper tape. Whatever you do, do not trim your zipper tape. The first time I accidentally trimmed my zipper tape, I didn't think it was a big deal. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. And then when I kept zipping up the bag, I was like, what is all this fraying? My whole zipper tape started unraveling. I was not a happy camper. And then I was really frustrated because I did not know how to reinstall the zipper. So it was definitely a life lesson in sewing. Never trim your zipper tape. Like, snip into it. All right, I'm almost done with this part, and we're going to trim back the exterior and the interior to 1/8 of an inch, and not trimming your zipper tape. A duckbill scissors or embroidery scissors work really good on this. But if you don't have that, just a pair of small snips and taking your time to cut it out, you'll be fine. That's why we're removing the 1/8 of an inch stitch, so that way we can trim this back so that the lining sits, the pocket sits really nice. It's the little things that in this pattern that makes the biggest difference. So, like, just really just trust the process. That's why you definitely could use a bigger stitch when you're basting it, and then go back to the smaller one when you do the 1/4 of an inch. It will help tremendously on time. Sometimes I'm really lazy and I don't turn the dial, and then look, I'm here for like 5 minutes unpicking versus just doing a bigger basting stitch. And we have 2 more stitches and we're done. All right, so we're now going to trim back the fabric only to 1/8 of an inch. So take your time, not cutting the zipper tape. It's like peeling an apple. Okay, we're gonna do it on this. Yeah, I just sewed the other zipper. Nobody noticed. Okay, I'll fix this. Last time I sewed a beautiful ruler to my machine fabric. I just went over the previous holes, like stitch in the ditch method. Okay. Okay, and we are going to turn this right sides out. And you can use a chopstick or a boning tool, whatever you have, to get the curves. I have a chopstick if it wants to come out. To get the curves nice and smooth. I'm just snipping some threads. All right. And then we're going to top stitch. Oh, put our pocket flap stabilizer in. And we're going to top stitch after we take one of these bad boys and put it in. Slide it in. All right. Smooth it out. And then we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I'm using a 9014 needle. When I get to the heavier parts, I definitely believe in switching out your needles. To like a 116. And I'm kind of pulling the zipper tape taut away so that it doesn't get caught up in the seam. Okay, we have that all done. Now we're going to kind of repeat for the one of the two lining flaps, but I will definitely do a bigger stitch on the basting stitch. Like glue everywhere. I have clips everywhere too, and I'm looking for them like random places. All right, bigger stitch so I can remove them. And I'm gonna baste this on at 1/8 of an inch. Gonna put right sides together, sandwiching the zipper. Going back to a non-basting stitch. I'm doing 3.5. Really making sure the teeth are not, the zipper teeth are not in the way when I'm stitching. Let's see. Okay, all right. Sure. Yeah, 3.5. And make sure your zipper tape is not like on the track where you're about to stitch. My zipper tape keeps wanting to pop up. That's exactly why she has like this 1/8 of an inch, just to make sure that everything stays secure when you're sewing. Okay, we're going to now remove the 1/8 of an inch stitch. It's a bigger stitch, so it'll be faster to remove. All right, that's already removed. Basting stitch is important, different sizes. Just pulling on the zipper teeth to get it out, and then using a chopstick and then sticking my stabilizer in there. Okay, and then I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch around to help hold the stabilizer, as well as the top stitches look pretty. Oh, I should have trimmed like I did. I think I got really excited because the basting stitches came out fast, but you could trim back the excess off the, not the zipper, but around the zipper from 1/8 of an inch. Purple Fox Queen Hope. That's Hopi, in case anyone wants to know. So we remove the excess. We top stitch, not cutting in our zipper tape. And now we're going to retrieve our second zipper, have it parted. We're going to grab our exterior and our interior side panels. We're going to find our center. I just like to clip the top and bottom, and then I will find my center and make a mark. Chalk pencil. Sorry, I noticed that the part was not trimmed. So I have my mark for the center right here. I'm going to find my center for my interior piece as well. Piece top and bottom. You can crease it if you want to. That's perfectly fine too. Just redo it, and then I am going to take the clips. I'm going to pin raw edges to raw edges. This is also where you're going to have to base 1/8 of an inch. I'm just trying to make sure the curve goes smoothly as possible. There goes my puppy again. He has like, I have to show him one day. He has the most curious person. Like, his personality is very different. He's very calm and like relaxing. Like, he wags his tail at everyone. But, and this is the but, when he gets upset, his whole little face scrunches up, and it's like the cutest thing ever. And I know I'm not supposed to be like, oh, that's so cute, but he has an adorable personality. So we're going to base the zipper on at 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to start here on this side. I know. Okay, so if you guys notice, I write and I sew. I do everything with both hands. So it may look backwards. You're like, is she left-handed? Not like Hope is. Hope is 100% left-handed. But I am ambidextrous. Because I had someone mention that on one of my things. They're like, hey, are you left-handed? Yes and no. Having a really good zipper foot, like this narrow head foot, it's exactly 1/8 of an inch, so it's easier for me to navigate things. Okay. Let's pull this out. All right, we're gonna grab our shoe pocket lining, and we are going to lay the shoe pocket lining right sides up on your workspace. Find and mark your centers on one of the long edges. And I'm going to use white chalk pen so you can see, and I can see. All right. Match the mark on the zipper. I have like a million threads. So we're going to match the mark on the zipper. It'll be raw edges to raw edges. Just making sure the marks line up. Raw edges to raw edges. Okay. Just work with it. It'll mold the way you need it to. All right. So when you have it, it should look like diagram figure 164. So you have the right sides to right sides, teeth, the sandwich teeth are sandwiched in between. We are going to sew at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitch the beginning and the end. Take your time. I generally have the heavier or bigger stuff towards the left of the machine instead of trying to cram it in to the neck of this machine. Take your time, maneuver the fabric around, just get squishy with it. It's going to be fine. If you have to stop, put the needle down, grab something to drink, stay hydrated. All right. Okay, we're trimming our threads. All right, so triple check the position of your waterproof canvas. Make sure it's wrong sides to right sides with the exterior. And then we're going to sew the shoe seam at 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to set it aside. We're going to grab our I had the shoe interior piece right here. Our interior piece, and we are going to put right sides together and clip it. This part is like magic to me. At first I was like, no, there's no way. And then I'm like, oh my God, I did it. I want to do this for every bag, knowing that every bag can't have a shoe pocket. It's a pretty cool trick. Like, I feel like on this bag, there are so many skill building techniques. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go from the opposite side. I'm going to baste this on at 1/8 of an inch. You can use a stiletto if it helps you with the curves. This is a pretty big curve, so I think you can completely get away with just like making sure the raw edges are all together. There's no puckers. And you can kind of see why I go from the opposite side, because as I am pulling and maneuvering the zipper tape, it's kind of like shifting a little bit by little, so you have your tail on the side. And oh man, I almost Rapunzeled this. My hair got caught in the lever. I would have had straight curly hair in the threads. All right, so we're going to grab we're going to retrieve our shoe pocker anchor. And we are going to match right sides. We're going to match right sides to the wrong side of the zipper. And just clip it. Okay. Use as many or as few as you want. I could see some people like clipping, not doing this without any clips. That's pure magic to me. All right. So we're going to go 1/4 of an inch for our seam allowance. Back stitch at the beginning and end of each. Wrong. Keep all the raw edges together. Take your time. All right. Trim the threads. To trim off the excess part of the shoe anchor, just trim it off. Not the zipper tape, just the anchor. All right, and then it's suggested to burn your the ends again to make sure your zipper pulls don't it just makes your zipper pulls easier to get to and pull on. You need to follow really closely. Position the side panel of the two linings right side together. So we're going to panels need to be, it gets really squishy, just I'm just finger pressing this and pulling the zipper tape away from this. Struggling right now, hold on. Position the side panels right side lining together. Waterproof canvas to waterproof canvas. Right sides panel. Side position the side right sides. Put the lining in the shoe panel and just clip the raw edges. Yep, you're watching me struggle. Hold on. While I'm getting the right sides of the canvas, it wants to be a little finicky. I know it looks really weird. I'm going to show it to you once I clip it all together. We're sandwiching in I got a few more clips and then I'll show you. We're sandwiching the right sides of the waterproof canvas linings together. All right. So the exterior and the interior are going to be wrong sides touching. We have in the inside the waterproof canvas being sewn together. We're going to sew that together so when we zip this up, there's no like raw edges showing. All right, so we're going to sew those figures, and she has really good explanations of on what to do. She shows you where the shoe pocket lining is, where the lining of the anchor is, and where the exterior is. And it will help tremendously, because at first you're like, okay, it is not making sense to me, but you're pulling everything in so that way if you look at figure 171, you'll see that the zipper tape is facing out and the waterproof canvas is kind of like, I'm trying to do it like the figure so you can see it. It's where the waterproof canvas is kind of going into the pocket already. And then the anchor's in the back, and we're about to sew this 1/4 of an inch seam allowance together. Okay, I'm gonna make sure raw edges and raw edges, and you're gonna get squishy. So just bear with it, take your time. It's a unique shape. Use your stiletto if you need to. Okay. So if I flip this around right now, I'm going to pop a few clips in here because it's been bent out of control right now. You're going to see it take place. So this is the, flip this real quick. This is the outside. So we're going to, the shoe bag is going to be on the inside. So you're going to see this on the outside of the bag when the shoe bag is fully disengaged. Now, this is what I should have explained in the beginning. Waterproof canvas is weird because there is and there isn't a right side and a wrong side. Usually the area that's a little plasticky is the wrong side. But that's say for this case that you rather have this part in the inside, you would have just reversed the way you sewed it to the main panel. Because when the shoe pocket's fully extended, you're going to only see the brown and the beautiful leopard is in the inside. So in this, we're going to now turn the shoe pocket lining side out. We're going to clip these two 17-inch where wrong side's touching. So I'm going to clip it like this. Wrong side's touching. I'm guessing you're sleepy.
I'm actually watching Alaska's Last Frontier, homesteading.
Okay, so anyone that didn't hear me before when I said he's watching. So we're wrong sides touching. We're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch. We're going to do a front creating a garment stitch into a back stitch. It's pretty cool. So all raw edges are enclosed and encased. All right, so then we're going to take our scissors, trim threads, and we're going to cut this down to the seam to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to turn this right side, and we're going to take we're going to encase. You could pop a few clips in here if you wish, just to make sure your seam is not. All right, let's see. All right, we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch in the beginning and end. And what this does is it encases that raw edge that you have, so you don't see it when you're looking into the bag. So when we're looking inside this bag, I have like, I promise you, I feel like I'm trimming threads, but then they're always there. There's no like raw edge. So now we are going to find our centers on the back of the bag, which we have one that represents the seam, and the other one we're just going to draw on top with the white chalk pen. And then you have your centers. I have a faint red mark from when I drew it, but I'm just doing it white. We're going to we're going to lay your shoe pocket lie flat, mark the seams. So we're going to sew together 3/8 inch, trim at 1/8, turn the piece around to show the side panels. Yeah. You're going to pull this through. Sides are facing out. And we're going to match this. All right. I had like a bazillion clips, and I think they all just do well. Like whenever I'm done with the project, I have to go clip collect at the end of it. Or fling them in my face. All the pieces fit really smoothly together. And the reason why you're doing this where the exterior and the bag shooting out is so that when you pull it, when you put the shoe, when the shoe bag is extended into the bag, you're not seeing any raw edges. Okay, we're going to sew this at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Again, all the heavier stuff towards the left of the machine just makes your life a whole lot easier. Back stitching beginning to end. All right. I feel proud of myself. At least I did not use my turn lock. I'm like, anytime I have to put a turn lock or a thumb lock in, somehow I always like am missing a piece. And then I'm mad at myself. Raw sides, raw edges facing each other. You have to just need raw edges. Back stitch, and then we're going to just trim this down to 1/8 of an inch seam allowance.
Thanks, Jennifer, for joining us. You have a good night, and let us know what you think when you get finished watching it later on.
Thank you. You're amazing for watching. There's like so many cool waterproof canvases out. I was seeing so many different bags on my feed today, and it's amazing that there's so many different prints. You really can customize your bag. All right, so I'm going to take this bag, push it right sides out again, and we're going to start installing the lining. We're going to do the lining first. All right. So with this, we're going to install our zippers. Let's see. Helps if you get your zippers, Nova. Okay. What I like to do is I like to connect one end first, and hopefully not fumble. I like me and the camera. Oh, I'm sorry. I like to install. Let's see. This first. Alright. Hope if I actually trim it left and do one installation at one zipper at a time. Sorry, I have to burn or melt the ends. And not my hair. Nova. You can put in zippers. All right. We can do this. Okay. Every time I'm on camera, it's like, nope, you can't put in zippers. I like to put in on one side first, hopefully securely, and then I like to bring it all the way to the end. It won't install, unfortunately, for me right now. I have no idea why it's being so finicky. So I bring it all the way over to where I wanted to meet the other one. I'm going to cut the excess zipper tape, exactly the teeth meeting to the second one. Fray the ends. And I grab another zipper because it's just a little bit, and I'm going to feed it in. Of course, it wants to not feed beside you, so just take your time. It'll work out. So this is now all, and tuck the lining a little bit in here, and then I'm going to install. You have to get really squishy with it because you're going to have to squish your lining. I'm going to me personally, I like to work with the sides that are. Every time my phone does that, I literally jump. I'm gonna side in. Okay. Crossing my fingers. This, you're gonna just work with me. Got it. All right, so I'm gonna.
Your hands get tired?
No.
Sometimes you're trying to put zip through.
Sometimes no, sometimes yes. Just gonna. Man, I do not trim threads good. Like, it is. I wish like it automatically would just like trim. I thought I had all 4 zippers up here. Can you give me one of those zippers? It's in the pack right there by the die. Right there by the string. There's a pack of zippers.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
I thought I had 4 zippers. Watch the zipper magically appear. No, babe. It's okay. Okay, you see the pattern pieces?
Yes.
Where did you go, Zipper?
This right here.
Zipper.
Oh, I'm sorry. Zipper head.
Mm-hmm. Right. Kendall, look over. There's a pack. It's like a pack. There you go.
Wow.
Thank you.
If it was a snake.
All right, so I'm gonna pop another one. I know I had another one up here. Let's see. Put the second one on. I don't know. I'd like to put the even one on first so that way they could chase. They kind of chase each other. All right. So we have the bulk of it. So I'm going to I'm gonna unzip this a little bit and take the excess out, and I'm going to what I should have did in the first place was tuck this tucking the lining in to the lining side. Just tucking that excess in, and I'm going to baste this shut at 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to baste the other side too. I mean, you're not removing this stitch, so just like make sure everything's lined up and in place so that way it's not all moving around. So I'm just tugging and pulling to make sure everything is lined up right. Close the opening to like the bottom part, just sewing like 1/8 of an inch. Moving everything that can fly off the table out of the way. Okay. Line up all raw edges. I'm going over the zipper tape so there can be an anchor, like so. Cutting off excess zipper tape. Trying to roll this prettily, but I'm gonna not lie to you. The one that I use, it's not pretty. I actually use it for soft drinks when I go to conventions. Like it keeps everything nice and cool and separated from like okay. All right, so pretty cool, right? Like this is really cool. All right, so we have the bottom all like sewn down, and if you go to page 49, we're going to grab our zipper panel and we're going to be putting it, installing on one side. Now, when we do this, we're going to not sew the lining at all onto this. We're going to do right sides together for exterior on exterior, and we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. Pop a few clips in it if you definitely need it. This has a lot of weight to it, so it's not going to shift greatly. If you're worried like I am right now, you're going to just, you know, pop a clip or two. And then we're going to back stitch well. All right. We're going to trim excess threads. Then we're going to take this and we're going to clip. We're going to turn this around and you're going to grab some double-sided tape and we're going to put this on, we're going to fold over. I'm going to give you the exact measurements. It helps reduce the bulk. We're going to sew together 3/8 of an inch. We're going to run some double-sided tapes on the raw edge seam. And I'm going to use this Dritz wash away. And we're gonna fold it over. What I like to do is we want to get to that 3/8 of an inch seam and cover it. So I'm just kind of finger pressing that we just made at the 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to stick and I'm going to pop a clip right here on the edge while I'm doing the other side. Over that stitch line real quick. Finger press well. Pop in a clip and then we're going to turn this over. And we're going to sew a 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch top. Clip's still flying. See, it caught threads. Then we are going to complete the zipper panel by putting the bottom attachment on here. So you have your lining and you have your interior. So we're going to match raw edge to raw edge. And I'm definitely putting some clips on here. And we're going to do a 3/8 of an inch slot. Take your time. Again, the bulk of the weight to the left of the machine. And we're going to grab our lining, put that right sides together. And this does get a little bulky, so you're going to have to shift and move things as you go because it gets bulky, but it's, like I said, it's super worth it. Pop a few clips in. You can increase your stitch length if it's too bulky, as well as you can change your needle. So before I top stitch, I'm just going to tug everything to make sure everything got covered, and pop a few clips on the other side, and then I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I will have to roll some of this out of the way. Again, increase your stitch length. Use a hop jumper. This part of the bulk won't be in our seam when we're putting the bag together, our final steps next week, which I'm really excited. And take your time. All right. All my clips are like, we're going to leave you flat on the table. And we're going to do this again on the opposite side. Okay. 3/8 of an inch minus a million threads I have. Making sure that raw sides are touching. Raw edge to raw edge. Back stitch. Okay, we're going to squish everything because we need to get this to this, lining to lining. Okay, we're going to top stitch this after we turn it real quick. Okay. And we're just going to get squishy with it. We're going to make sure that we're not top stitching through any other layers other than the exterior of the and interior of the side. We're just going to have to shift and move things. It's going to be fine. You're just now getting the idea of how big and magnificent this bag is. Trim threads. Whew. This is a big and beautiful bag. All right. That was like a workout. So, we did, now what we're going to do is before we're done with this step, we're lastly going to top stitch all the edges 1/8 of an inch so it's all encased. So you could definitely clip in places so that you know nothing will shift. Especially the pocket with the elastic. And I usually just start on one panel area and then I base stitch, and this could be a bigger stitch, it doesn't have to be the 3.5. I base stitch, I'm going to go at a 5, and you're just basting the 2 layers together, so when we bind this tomorrow, nothing will, like, not tomorrow, but next Sunday, nothing will come apart. Because have you ever put a bag together and you thought you had all the layers, but you didn't do that one step of base stitching? Yeah, and you didn't find out until after you were done binding and turning it right sides out. That's really frustrating. I had that actually happen on a few bags, so I'll be like, no, I can get it. I didn't, and then I was really mad at myself. Because it is a tedious and sometimes a long thing. Okay. Just gonna go for the interior. Just position your bag. You're gonna have to get squishy and move it around. Yep, moving around the bag. Oops. Did not have my needle down. And again, my hair wants to go into the thread where the thread is or the lever is. It's like, we want to be a part of this bag. All right, so we have one whole body of the piece. Base, it's really worth the extra effort. It does take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. So we have and it's the interior, and that goes by really relatively quickly. It's her signature styles in her bags. She has a lot of pockets as normal and some really cool ways to make pockets. Then we're going to base all the exterior bias binding and the whole 9 yards. I'm really bag. You have a really cool bag. at the convention, and now I'm like, how did I do that? So inside the bag, you have this nice big area to put your shoes in. So we accomplished that together, and we did a lot. Making the shoe pocket to me is one of the easiest and hard together. And once you get it, it's like aha moment. It works out really cool. So pack 7 and 8 below.